Behind some of history's most shocking moments were not armies or governments, but hidden groups meeting in silence, bound by oaths that demanded complete obedience. Secret societies are groups that hide their leadership, their rituals, and their true goals. Today, we're looking at some of the most extreme secret societies in history and what exactly made them so extreme. Aum Shinrikyo. Aum Shinrikyo began in Japan in the 1980s as a spiritual movement. Its leader, Shoko Asahara, claimed he could predict disasters and had supernatural abilities. At first, the group attracted educated followers, scientists, engineers, even doctors. It did not look extreme in the beginning. But slowly, the group became isolated from society. Members were told the outside world was evil and corrupt. They lived in controlled communities and followed strict rules. Members were cut off from family. They were forced to donate money and obey strict rules. Asahara convinced them that a global apocalypse was coming and that only true believers would survive. What made Aum Shinrikyo extreme was how far they went in preparing for this end of the world. They secretly built laboratories. They experimented with chemical weapons. They even tested substances on animals and possibly on members. In 1995, they released sarin gas in the Tokyo subway system during rush hour. The attack killed innocent civilians and injured thousands. It was one of the first times a secret religious cult carried out a chemical attack in a modern city. The Order of the Solar Temple. The Order of the Solar Temple formed in the 1980s in Europe and Canada. It presented itself as a spiritual organization focused on higher knowledge and ancient teachings. Members believed they were part of something sacred and important. Over time, the leaders gained more control over members' lives. Members were gradually isolated from the outside world. Leaders convinced them that society was corrupt and that the only way to reach a higher spiritual level was through death. They encouraged isolation from friends and family. Slowly, members were convinced that death was not something to fear, but a transition to a better spiritual plane. What made this group extreme was how this belief ended. In the 1990s, more than 70 members died in a series of coordinated deaths across Switzerland and Canada. Some were believed to have been murdered. Others died in what were called ritual suicides. Victims were found arranged in ceremonial patterns. Some children were among the dead. The Thuggee. The Thuggee operated in India for centuries. They did not look like criminals. They blended in with travelers, spoke politely, shared meals, and waited patiently. Once trust was built, they would kill quietly, usually by strangling their victims with a cloth called a rumal. What makes the Thuggee extreme is not just the killing, it's the belief system behind it. Many members believed they were serving the goddess Kali through ritual murder. It was not seen as evil in their eyes, but as ritual duty. Membership was often inherited. They used secret codes, signals, and organized burial methods to hide bodies. When British authorities investigated in the 1800s, they uncovered an organized network responsible for possibly thousands of deaths over generations. This was secrecy combined with ritualized killing on a massive scale. The Hashchashin. In the 11th to 13th centuries, the Hashchashin were a secret sect known for targeted political assassinations. They focused on eliminating specific powerful individuals. Members were trained carefully and operated in small hidden groups. They would infiltrate enemy cities, get close to rulers, and strike suddenly. Many missions were so dangerous that the attacker did not expect to survive. Their attacks were sometimes carried out in public spaces, sending a clear message to others in power. It created fear far beyond the number of actual killings. Their name is believed to be the origin of the word assassin, and their legacy became part of legend. The Ku Klux Klan. The Ku Klux Klan began in 1865, right after the American Civil War. It was created by former Confederate soldiers in the southern United States. At first, it acted like a secret social club, but very quickly it turned into something much darker. The KKK believed in white supremacy. They wanted to stop Black Americans from gaining political power and basic rights after slavery ended. They also targeted Jewish people, Catholics, immigrants, and anyone who supported racial equality. Members wore white robes and pointed hoods to hide their identities. They held secret nighttime meetings. They burned crosses as a symbol of intimidation. They carried out beatings, kidnappings, lynchings, and bombings. Entire communities were threatened into silence. During the early 1900s, especially in the 1920s, the KKK had millions of members across the United States. They influenced local governments, police departments, and courts. That meant violence often went unpunished. The Mafia. The Mafia began in Sicily, Italy in the 1800s and later expanded into the United States. It wasn't just a street gang. It operated as a structured secret brotherhood with a strict hierarchy. What made the Mafia extreme wasn't only crime, it was loyalty enforced by fear. To become a member, initiates often participated in ceremonies involving blood oaths. A picture of a saint might be burned in their hand while they swore loyalty. The message was clear: betrayal means death. The Mafia enforced a strict rule of silence known as omertà. Members were forbidden from cooperating with authorities under any circumstances. Breaking that code could lead to execution, not just of the member, but sometimes retaliation against family. Throughout the 20th century, Mafia families controlled illegal gambling, drug trafficking, extortion, loan sharking, and even construction contracts. In some cities, they controlled entire industries. Assassinations were ordered in secret meetings. Witnesses were silenced. Judges and journalists were threatened or killed in some countries. The structure was almost military-like. Boss, underboss, captains, soldiers. Orders flowed downward. No one questioned the chain of command. Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones is very different from the KKK or Mafia. It is not a violent organization, but it is extreme in exclusivity, secrecy, and influence. Founded in 1832 at Yale University. Every year, only about 15 senior students are selected. That alone makes it extremely exclusive. Once chosen, members disappear into a private building known as the Tomb, a windowless structure that looks more like a fortress than a campus club. Over the years, conspiracy theories have grown around Skull and Bones because of how many powerful figures were members, including US Presidents George Bush, US Senators John Kerry, intelligence officials, and business leaders. Critics argue that the society acts as a private network for future elites. Some conspiracies claim that the initiation rituals involve disturbing symbolic acts, including the use of human skulls or references to occult symbolism. The Knights Templar. The Knights Templar began in the early 11th century during the Crusades. Officially, they were Christian warrior monks who protected pilgrims traveling to Jerusalem. They took vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. But behind that public image, they became incredibly powerful. They built an early international banking system. They controlled land across Europe. They answered only to the Pope, not to kings. That level of independence made rulers nervous. In 1307, King Philip IV of France ordered the mass arrest of the Templars. They were accused of shocking crimes: denying Christ during initiation ceremonies, spitting on the cross, worshipping a mysterious idol known as Baphomet, and engaging in secret immoral rituals. Under torture, some members confessed to these accusations. Some believe the Templars discovered secret religious knowledge in Jerusalem, possibly ancient relics or hidden documents that threatened church authority. Others believe they formed the foundation for later secret societies, like the Freemasons. One of the most extreme conspiracy theories claims that Templar initiation rituals required symbolic rejection of traditional Christianity to prove loyalty to the order above all else. When you look at all of this, the violence, the secrecy, the power, the conspiracies, one thing becomes clear: secret societies have always fascinated us. So I'm curious, which of these groups surprised you the most? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more content like this. See you in the next one.